All right, good evening, everybody. Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. Type a 3 in the chat if you can hear me and see my screen, please. Type a 3 in the chat if you can hear me and see my screen. How's everybody doing today? All right, awesome. All right, give me just a couple moments here. I'm going to make a few minor adjustments to my screen, adjust my slides, and we'll get started here in about 60 seconds. Go ahead and get cozy, relaxed. Get yourself something to drink, and I'll be back here in about 45, 60 seconds. All right, gang, I'm back. Looks like we had a good audiovisual clearance just a few moments ago. If somebody doesn't mind just typing in once more, I made a small adjustment to my slides. You should be seeing a slide that says 3-point price action formula to spot market reversals, any market, any time frame. If you can, just give me a shout out, let me know. All right, appreciate that. Thank you, Scott, Swin, Glenn, Martin, Joseph, Jim, SP, Stephen, Martin, William, everybody else. All right, guys, sound is good. Visuals are good. Let's go ahead and get started here. We're a couple minutes past the hour. First off, I want to say welcome. My name is Silas Peters. I'm the founder and head trader of Seasonal Swing Trader. Hopefully you are here to see 3-point price action formula to spot market reversals. If so, you are in the right place. You are in the right place. This is one of my favorite topics. I tell people that I don't usually have several topics or a handful of topics. Really only have just a few. I mean, at least I can count them on one hand. And it's because I don't need a lot of different strategy. I don't need dozens of strategies and dozens of indicators and things like that. I only use really what works. And so I'm very excited to share with you this very actionable strategy. I'm going to teach you all the nuts and bolts from A to Z that you can literally begin to start using tonight if you want to trade tonight in the Asian session, or take it in the European session, or wait till tomorrow. So pleased to present this to you. Feel free to ask all the questions you want during the course of the presentation. I'll be monitoring the chat box a little bit, but I want to make sure I get through the entire presentation. We'll be together for about 60 minutes or so. I want to make sure we get through the meat of the strategy and actually show you and teach you something. And then at the end, I hope everybody sticks around. I'll answer everybody's questions. We'll look at live market environment, what this actual strategy did today, and so on and so forth. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started here. Before we begin, we must always start with the risk disclaimer as required by the regulatory governing bodies and our attorneys who require us to share. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. There's substantial risk of loss associated with trading. Only risk capital should be used to trade. You can lose money in trading. So the Cliff Notes version of this means don't trade with your rent money, your mortgage money, your child's educational funds, your milk money. If you need further explanation on this, feel free to email me and I'll send this slide to you. So while everybody's reading that, let's get to know one another. Where's everybody from? Where's everybody tuning into from the world? I am in LA, not Southern Cal LA, but LA as in Lower Alabama on the Gulf of Mexico. And I hope everybody is faring well out there in this crazy environment, whether it's the market environment, the physical environment, emotional environment. A lot of crazy stuff going on. Markets are moving. Let's see, where's Block Island? Block Island, never heard of it. UK, Ontario, another London, UK, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, Tampa, New York City, Minnesota, Naples, awesome place. Naples is awesome. Okay, Rhode Island, nice. Yeah, I was in Naples for a wedding a few years ago. Really enjoyed that. Heading to St. Augustine for the week of Thanksgiving. Ontario, Dallas, Northern Cal, freezing in Boise. I'm sorry to hear that. Norman, Oklahoma, Boomer Sooners. All right. We got people from all over the world. Thank you. South Africa, North Carolina. It's really neat to see. Okay, guys, that's awesome. Let's go ahead and get started here. I don't want to waste anybody's time. I want to thank you for taking time out of your day. I know everybody's got obligations, and for you to spend an hour with me means a lot. It means that you're ready to, kind of get serious, get educated, and actually learn something that is actionable. So let's go ahead and get started here. And I want to introduce myself once again. My name is Silas Peters, and I'm a proud husband, also father. These are my two beautiful daughters here in front of my alma mater at the University of Alabama in Tuscaloosa, and some other pictures of my family just to show you that I am a human being. I'm not a robot. Love to get out when I can, when time permits, hanging out at the bay, the beach, boating, golf, so on and so forth. And 3 days after I graduated UA, I actually sold my car, packed up my small belongings, and I drove north, headed straight north to the great city of Chicago, the old Windy City. And it's here where I cut my teeth in the commodity markets working at the Chicago Board of Trade. I was immediately bitten by the trading bug and never really looked back. While there, I helped run a global trading desk, placing and managing books of trades across the Americas, Asian, and European sessions, primarily working with large block order flow for hedge funds, banks, CTAs, other large spec traders. Also been a part of building and managing several futures and equity brokerage firms, managing operations, trading, back office sales, and support. Also worked as a private family office investment consultant for ultra high net worth individuals. Hold or have held these various futures and securities licenses. And in 2016, I launched Seasonal Swing Trader. And then also in 2020, the infamous 2020, we launched our registered investment advisory, Blue Marlin Advisors, which I am a co-founder and co-partner of. So we're very excited about that. Let's talk about my journey. It wasn't always easy. I suspect yours may not have been easy as well, or may not be easy. There was a learning curve. In fact, several obstacles and hurdles on the path to where I am today. First step was obviously learning. School does not teach real life experience in the markets. I made money. In fact, I made a substantial amount of money in the beginning. Was I lucky? I like to not think that I was, but ignorance and greed cost me my profits. I blew up an account and I blew up a few others in what I like to call revenge trading. So who here is familiar with revenge trading? Certainly not fun. I'm not happy about it, but I chalk it up to part of the overall experience. I finally went back to my roots. I settled down, worked my process to find overall consistency. And hopefully that's what we're going to talk about here today. Enough about me. Let's talk about you. Does your trading desk look like this? Does anybody's trading desk look like this? I certainly hope it doesn't. This is a poor attempt at humor. I found this on the internet because I feel like it's the perception of what those on the outside looking in think this is what traders do, or we as traders do, that maybe we're stuffed in a basement and we got, we're surrounded by all these monitors and we got lines and numbers blinking and zigging all over the place. Now, my desk did look like this in Chicago for obvious reasons, but I've since pared back to just half a dozen monitors. Don't need all that. Don't need all that, but all this really does is leads us to paralysis analysis, which is this slide here. Who is a victim or has been a victim of paralysis analysis? I'm raising my digital arm here. Per Wikipedia, it's a state of overanalyzing or overthinking a situation so that a decision or action is never taken, in effect paralyzing the outcome. So who here has done all the analysis they thought they could? They've crossed the T, dotted the I, put their finger on the mouse, get ready to pull the trigger, and then whoop, this line crossed that line, or something else happens, thus negating our overall initial bias or analysis, and then we get frozen. We get frozen, and then we sit there and watch the trade play out. Maybe it was good, maybe it's bad. So absolutely, paralysis analysis has most likely affected one of us at some time or another. If it hasn't, congrats to you, pat yourself on the back. So hopefully we're here to eliminate the paralysis analysis demons. What do you trade? I like to see who I'm talking to. I appreciate the interaction so far. Do you trade stocks, options, futures, Forex, maybe even cryptocurrency? I like to see who I'm talking to. I trade stocks, options, futures, Forex on an active basis. Don't trade crypto on an active basis. I do have, of course, Bitcoin and some other accounts across the World Wide Web. Honestly, don't remember how to get in half the darn things. I view it more as a lottery ticket, but with Bitcoin picking back up and some of the others, I'm starting to look at it a little bit more. But I do trade all these other stocks, options, futures, Forex actively. So we have stocks, FX, stocks, options, and FX, futures and futures options. Very cool. Stock options, Ether, options, futures, stocks, ETFs, stocks and Forex, options with seasonality. Nice. Futures, equities, and little options. Yeah, so that's interesting. I appreciate everybody commenting. It's just good to see who I'm talking to. My presentation is not going to really differ because you're going to take whatever I show you and you can apply it to whatever market you trade. Even if you're tracking tulips or tea leaves, you can use this strategy. So what I'm going to share with you is highly accurate, it's profitable, works in all markets, as we just said, works in all markets, and it's 99% mechanical. Most importantly, it's simple. So I'm going to say we are not going to teach rocket surgery tonight. We're going to keep things simple. Look, I'm from Alabama. I like to keep things simple. So I do have agenda and promise. We're going to learn a simple mechanical setup that is repeatable regardless of the market or time frame. So at some point during the presentation, I'm going to stop and ask, have I fulfilled my promise to you? And I hope to see a lot of yeses. And if you don't, then you at least have to tell me why. Let's go ahead and get started here. What about the promises? If you're here, you may have seen or read something about the $10,000 trade promise. Now, I'm not going to promise you anything tonight, can't promise you anything in trading or life, but these were trade setups that we talked about in multiple free presentations, such as this one, where we talked about these potential $10,000 trade setups. Here is crude oil on the left, RBOB unlead on the right. We also had a third market in nat gas, and we talked about a very specific setup that was about to occur. This is all before the fact, no hindsight, and they actually triggered and met their $10,000 trade objective and then some, all by utilizing a strategy I'm about to teach you momentarily. We also talked about sleeper markets here in coffee and OJ. You see here from a 5, 15, and 30-year historical price perspective that markets tended to bottom out at this time of the year. Does that mean that we went and got long these markets, that we went and bought coffee, bought OJ, bought call options, sold put options? No, we said wait for the market or wait for this strategy to set up, the one that I'm about to teach you, to set up and occur. And that's exactly what they did. They went on and met their $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 per contract price objective. We also talked about these sleeper markets in corn, beans, and wheat. Corn on the left, beans on the right. You see here from a 5, 15, and 30-year historical price perspective that the markets tended to quiet out or bottom out at this particular time of the year. Again, does that mean that we went and bought these markets, got long beans, got long corn, sold put spreads, bought calls? No. We sat on our hands, we waited patiently for this very specific setup to occur. And this is exactly what the market was doing at the time. The market was getting quiet. They're almost being lulled to sleep by market participants because we had favorable weather, favorable seasonality. All the stars were aligning. The setup triggered based on the one I'm about to show you, and went on and met their $5,000, $6,000, and $7,000 per contract price objective. So who here is ready to see the setup responsible for these very recent trades? These are very recent trades here. I could probably update these, but these are very recent. We're talking 800 S&P points on the left. We're talking 160 points here in cocoa right here, 300 pips in the Aussie Kiwi, and two $40 or two $20 trades for $40 here in Facebook. Absolutely, you are, otherwise you probably wouldn't be here. So let's talk about it. Drum roll, please. It is the 1, 2, 3 pattern, also referred to as the 1, 2, 3 top or 1, 2, 3 bottom. So who here is familiar with the 1, 2, 3 top or 1, 2, 3 bottom pattern? I would suspect 99.8% of you are. I didn't invent it. It's been around for years. but one of the most fundamental technical patterns in the textbooks, but highly, and I mean highly, overlooked by most traders. I, like a lot of you, probably have been on a wild goose chase, chasing shiny objects, looking for the Holy Grail. I did the same, and I was making thousands of dollars with this one setup alone. I abandoned it, put it on the digital shelf, went and bought indicators and lines crossing and all this other jazz. I said, what am I doing? What am I doing? Went back to the 1, 2, 3, and it's the top pattern in my toolbox. So a lot of you are, and a couple of no's, and that's awesome. I love showing the people that are, and I love showing the people that aren't. So let's talk about it. The setup is price action based. The pattern is comprised of a low and a higher high and a higher low and a break of that higher high. In the case that we're going long, same rules apply but inverse or short. Anticipates a change in trend from up to down on a break below the 2 or B point. Anticipates a change in trend from down to up on a break above the 2 or B point. Strategy usually occurs at the end of trends and swings, can be an indication of a change in trend, can also be found within a trading range. So you may say, well, hey, is this a counter trend strategy or a reversal type strategy? And in essence it is, but we're going to talk about ways later how we can filter these out to put the odds even more in our favor. I will stress it works extremely well when the pattern sets up at significant areas of support and resistance. Other high probability patterns such as head, shoulders, tops, and bottoms, double tops, double bottoms, and more. Let's talk about the mechanics here. This could be a chart of Caterpillar, Litecoin, Walmart, whatever. Could be any market, any time frame. It doesn't matter. We're learning the very basic principles and mechanics. So for the 1, 2, 3 top, point 1 becomes the highest peak when we find resistance, and then we start to move back down. We get our established number 1. Market trades lower. Once we stop printing these higher low or lower highs and then pull back, we get a number 2. The market can retrace up here, or even up here, as long as we don't take out that number 1 high. We have a valid 1, 2, 3 top. Now, 1, 2, 3 top traders know that we're looking to get short on breaks or closes below the number 2. You see, we broke down and the market traded down as expected. 1, 2, 3 bottom works the exact same way, but only in inverse. So here the market trades down. Once we find that lowest low as support and pull up, we get an established number 1. Market trades higher, then pulls. Once we get that pullback, we get our established number 2. Once the market stops making these higher lows and retraces back, we get our number 3. The market could have come here, down here, or even down here. As long as we don't take out that number 1, we have a 1, 2, 3 bottom. 1, 2, 3 bottom traders are looking to get long on breaks or closes above the number 2. We don't know what happened in this particular example, but that's where we know we'd be looking to get long. Let's look at some chart examples. We'll start here with the daily chart of the Aussie dollar, the 6A. This is the futures contract 6A. If you don't trade Aussie futures, you could look at FXA, the ETF that tracks the Aussie. If you trade FX, you could look at the Aussie US pair Forex. So this is a daily chart. Now, this example, next couple of examples are going to focus on the daily. We don't have to look at the daily. That's no hard rule, nothing set in stone. Just for these example purposes, on the daily, we'll look for 52-week highs or 52-week lows. Again, that's not set in stone. We'll talk later on in the presentation how we can dial that back to even tighter to find more opportunities, say every 3 months, every 6 months, and more. So here we have a red number 1. Why? Because it's a 52-week high. Market pulls down. Once we stop making these lows and retrace back up, we get established number 2. Now we only retrace by about 4 or 5 bars here and then trade back down, giving us our number 3. The market could have come up here, or up here. As long as we don't take out that number 1 high, we have a 1, 2, 3. Now, what are the rules? We're looking to get short on breaks or closes below the number 2, which is exactly what we get. So we already know about 95% of the rules, but what about the other important ingredients of the recipe? Like, where's my risk? Where am I taking profits? Where am I putting my targets? Good questions. So our risk, excuse me, our initial risk is above the high of the 1. Our initial target is the distance between the high of the 1 measured to the low of the 2 measured down. So we measure from here to here and then down, which is about 225 ticks or $2,200 per contract. So yes, you're going to see immediately off the bat that is a 1-to-1 risk reward ratio. That's okay, but we can refine that more often than not to even put the odds more in our favor, which is what we obviously want to do. So it's very important to let the market begin to materialize in your anticipated direction. So once we start breaking down here, where is the next logical area of resistance or where we could put our stop? Above the high of the 3. So once we start breaking down and we're getting that extra confirmation, we can immediately move our stops from here to above the next area of resistance, which is above the number 3 high. We're quickly cutting our risk down by 50, 60, even 70%. All right. Let's look at some 1, 2, 3 tops. Let's look at another example. I'm going to answer all you guys' questions. I appreciate the questions. It's a daily chart of Walmart, WMT. Here we have a number 1. Why? It's a 52-week high. That's our number 1 starting point. 1, 2, 3. We know what 99% of other traders are already asking or struggling with. Where am I going to get in? Where am I putting my stop? Where am I putting my targets? We know all of that days in advance. We know with this 1, 2, 3 top that we're looking to get short on breaks or closes below the number 2. We know our initial risk is above the high of the 1. We know our initial target is the distance between the high of the 1 measured to the low of the 2, measured down, which is about $5 or $5 in this example. Let's look at some 1, 2, 3 bottom examples. Here's a 15-minute chart of the E-mini S&P. So on an intraday chart, whether it's a tick, 5-minute, 15, and so on, we're obviously not going to be looking for 52-week highs or 52-week lows. That wouldn't make much sense. On an intraday chart, we're looking for what we call session highs or session lows. What does that mean? It means that we're looking for new highs or new lows of the session. So wherever you start your trading day, that's where you're going to start looking for new highs or new lows. So if you're not familiar with futures or Forex, they trade virtually around the clock, opening on Sunday afternoons, trading into the Asian session, into the European session, into the New York session, shutting down for about an hour or so, reopening, rinse and repeat, and through Friday afternoon. So wherever you start your trading, I start buying around 6 a.m. Central. I'm looking for new highs or new lows from that point. If you start your trading day at 3 a.m. European, you're either looking for new highs or new lows. If you start your trading day at the 9:30 Eastern cash open, new highs or new lows from that point forward, from the beginning of the session. Okay. So here we have a new session lows indicated by the red 1 circle. 1, 2, 3. Let's talk about a couple of entry methods. An aggressive trader may look to get long on the initial breakout. So you work a buy stop, a tick or 2 above the number 2 high, you're triggered into the trade. An alternative entry method would be to either A, wait for that market to trigger up and come back and retest, or 2, wait for that market to come and hook back up and through that number 2 breakout. So a couple things are going to happen. One, you're going to miss out on some potentially winning trades. Sometimes the market will bust up out of that breakout area, go tag your target, and leave you in the dust. There's no need to get your feelings hurt. There's plenty of other markets and plenty of other time frames. But what is it also going to likely do? Sometimes the market will bust up, and then it will roll back down and stop you out. So I like this retest method or this hook method. The market comes up, rolls back down, shakes out some of these last week sellers, and then we come up, back up, and we push back up and through that breakout area, and we're off to the races. Here's a 1, 2, 3 pattern on a weekly chart of Apple. Longer term chart, hell of a way to catch some longer term position type moves. Here we have a 1, 2, 3. We also have a high probability double bottom. Market bust up and out of above the number 2 high of this large bullish candle. We trade sideways for a few weeks. The market comes back up and retests and our hooks back above. That's our confirmation to get long. How? We buy Apple stock. We can buy call options, call spreads, sell out of the money put spreads. Whatever your flavor or style of trading is, that's how we can participate. Let's talk about failed trades. They don't all work. This is where people will just start leaving in masses. Oh, I thought it was 100%. Thought it was a holy grail. Sorry. I know everybody that's here are big boys and girls. We know that nothing is 100% in trading or life. This is a 5-minute chart of the even S&P. I probably took it in my live account. Looks good. We're getting vertical. We have a trend line break. New session high. 1, 2, 3. That aggressive trader is getting short here on that initial break below the number 2. Or if you wait for that alternative hook method, market comes up and then hooks back down, trigger you into the trade. You're up by maybe 1 or 2 points there. If you exercise any money management rules, you're stopped out at the initial or the next area of resistance above the high of the 3. Or if you sat on your hands and didn't do anything, you're stopped out here above the number 1 high, which is your initial risk area. But what happens again? What happens? We get a new count, new number 1 high. This high is greater than that high. New count, 1, 2, 3. Breaks down below, ends up being a profitable trade. This is what I call a no trigger trade. It's neither good, bad, nor ugly. It is what it is. It's called a voided trade. And I'll tell you in a second why I like these setups. So here we have a 1, 2, 3. Excuse me, looking to get long above the number 2. Market size wants to break down, takes out the number 1 low. We start the count over. 1, 2, 3. Looking to get long here. Market trades lower, takes out the number 1 low. We start the count over. 1, 2, 3. Finally are able to get long in the second on the start attempt. So what is likely happening? Whoever can answer gets a gold star on your crown this evening. What is likely happening in this situation? You can probably spin it however you want, but we're maybe flushing out, flushing out weak longs. But what's setting up for reversal, whatever's going on, we're likely creating divergence. What does that mean? Well, price action is making new lows, new lows, new lows, but we likely have some type of divergence going on. That means whatever momentum oscillator you might be using, whether it's the stochastics, MACD, RSI, we're likely making higher lows, or i.e. no lower lows, thus giving us divergence. That's one of the things that I like to add to even put the odds more in our favor. We'll look at some examples of that if you want to stick around. All right, 1, 2, 3 pattern trade management. Again, confirmation of entries on a break above the 2 or B point for a long, or a break or close below the number 2 or B point for a short. Exit strategies. I would say if you only are able to trade one contract, one futures contract, one option contract, one FX pair, one share of stock, I would say go for the distance between the 1 and 2 as your first target, because it's uncanny how more often than not it will go tag that off into a tick and then reverse. Now, if you have the flexibility to trade, to scale in and out where we all want to be, right? I would say, hey, take a third, half, 2/3 of your position off at that initial distance between the 1 and 2, and then trail your balance or your position with however you manage your trade. I like to target good old-fashioned support and resistance levels, areas of price structure. You can use trend line analysis, moving averages, parsar. The list goes on and on. You have to figure out what works best for you. Nobody can tell you how to manage your trade, okay? Now, I've showed you that this setup works on any market, where you trade pips and Forex, Pepsi stock, potash or pot stocks, pork bellies, or Polish zloty. And on any time frame, where you trade a tick, hourly, 4-hour, daily, and more, and any trading style. Are you a position trader, swing trader, day trader, tick trader? I'm gonna take a swig of water here. Tell me what everybody's trading style is. Dean, yes, you're in Birmingham. Sally was absolutely brutal. Absolutely brutal. Still cleaning up. Day and swing. Eric, I'll answer that question. Let's see, scalper, 5-minute index futures, or let's see, scalping intraday, 9 to 12, swing and tick. And swing, what tick chart are you using? Position, swing. Excellent. Momentum scalper. That's great. And I ask that because you've got to ultimately find out what your bread and butter is. For me, I like the 5 and 10 minute on intraday charts. Also get looking really heavily in the 233 tick charts on S&P, CRUDE bonds, a couple of the currencies, the hourly and 4 hour on a handful of commodities and currency futures, and then the daily for all markets, equities, options, futures, Forex. And daily is where I got my start in my trading journey, looking at intraday charts, and it was probably the best thing that could have happened. I wasn't sitting here glued to my monitor watching every single tick. So just like I said, nobody can tell you how to manage your position. Nobody can try to, or nobody should try to tell you how to manage or what style you should trade or pigeonhole you into a particular time frame. We're all different. Everybody's got different risk tolerances, educational levels, capital, time that they can commit during the day. So you've got to figure out what works best for you. All right, you've seen the proof. Let's look at some real trade examples. Not to say that what we looked at were fake examples, but let's talk about trade examples we've utilized in some of our services. First one here is crude oil. Everybody loves to talk about crude, speculate crude. This year was pretty wild for crude back in February, and it's a great market. And whether you trade crude futures or maybe crude ETFs or CFDs, you're going to see the same pattern, same setup. So this is a daily chart of crude. I'm gonna look on the left and work right. You guys and gals can read all this text over here on the right. So here we have a daily chart. We have a red one circle. Why? It's a 52-week high. Here we have a 1, 2, 3. It's a smaller 1, 2, 3. I'll give you that, but it's a valid one nonetheless. We know well in advance where our entry is, where our risk is, and where our targets are. 1, 2, 3. Our initial, we're looking to get short on breaks or closes below the number 2. Our initial risk is above the high of the 1. Our initial target is the distance between the high of the 1 measured to the low of the 2 measured down. We break down, we quickly meet our $3 or $3,000 per contract price objective. Then we go sideways. We go into consolidation mode. I get asked all the time, does this work in range-bound markets? Well, theoretically it should, right? Because we're looking for new highs or new lows. So I'm only looking for new highs or new lows to get a new 1, 2, 3 pattern. But if you want to trade range-bound 1, 2, 3s, you certainly can. We have a nice 1, 2, 3 inside this range, triggers to the upside, ends up being a profitable trade. I'm only looking for new highs or new lows. We get that. This high is greater than that high, so we start a new count, 1, 2, 3. Let me tell you why I got super excited about this setup. One, because of the high probability 1, 2, 3 pattern that we've been talking about. Secondly, we're at a time of the year from a seasonal perspective where crude and energy markets in general tend to trade to the downside. So when we have those two things aligned, it's what I call the perfect marriage in trading. So we got short this market. How? We shorted crude futures, we bought put options, we sold call spreads, we traded US over and other leveraged ETFs. We met our $4 or $4,000 per contract price objective, and then we traded down. In fact, we traded down another $20,000 per contract. Now, we didn't catch that entire move, but we damn sure caught a large chunk of it. And all we did is trail the market, trail our stops until we either got a reversal or we got stopped out. Here we have a potential 1, 2, 3 bottom right here. 1, 2, 3. Very nice 1, 2, 3. We have probably my second favorite technical pattern, which is a triangle. So I'm looking to get long on breaks above the number 2. What happened? The market broke to the downside of its triangle, which it technically should, trading it in continuation of the trend, sold off another $10 or $10 per barrel. We sat and waited patiently until we finally flushed out a new low. We got a new number one point here, 1, 2, 3. Market finally broke above, hit our $5, $5,000 per contract price objective. Here's a chart on gold. This is actually GLD, the ETF that tracks gold futures. I like to look at the futures or commodity charts first. It's going to be a lot cleaner, a lot more fluid. You're not going to see all the gaps and whatnot. But if you want to start with the ETF, that's perfectly fine. You're going to see the same pattern. Guys, I adjusted my microphone. I want to make sure it sounds good. Somebody said sound cut out. Can somebody give me a shout out? Test, test, test. Okay, thanks, guys. All right. Let me just respond to Paul. Hit F5, refresh, or log out, log back in. There you go. All right, so gold. Here we have 3 examples. 1, 2, 3. Again, we know a day or 2 in advance because it happened a little bit quicker what we were going to do. Breaks down, gives you a couple retests, reach our $4 profit objective. Now we flip to the long side bias. 1, 2, 3, double bottom as well. We break above the number 2, hits our $2 profit objective. Then we go sideways, just like that last crude example. Well, what about all this? You missed this move. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. If you want to trade the range-bound moves, by all means, help yourself. I'm looking for new highs or new lows. But here we have a 1, 2, 3, boom to the upside. Here we have a 1, 2, 3 top, boom to the downside. Beautiful moves. Beautiful moves. But now we start to get new number 1 counts down here. We're making new lows. These lows are taking out these lows. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. That looks like a solid setup. What happens? I don't know if you can see that, but this candle takes out the low of that candle. We start to count over. 1, 2, 3. Market gaps higher 2 days in a row. I can guarantee you that it happened on a futures chart, but that's cool. Either way, we go boom, boom, and we come back and retest. We also get a trend line retest, and the market hooks back up to the upside. That's our confirmation to get long. How? We buy gold futures. We buy mini gold futures. We buy GLD, call options, sell put spreads, trade gold CFDs. There's no excuse, no reason not to participate. You can trade it however you like to trade. Let's look at Delta Airlines. This is probably becoming redundant by now, but let's look at Delta. Here's a 1, 2, 3 bottom, gaps up above the number 2, but comes back and retests the breakout area. That's very common. Boom to the upside. Here we have a 1, 2, 3 top. Here we have a potential 1, 2, 3, but the market makes a new high. Here we 1, 2, 3. Market gaps down below the number 2. I don't really chase those. I've got guys and gals that will trade all these patterns, so they're aggressively buying puts, selling the market here. But we get another chance up here, 1, 2, 3. Market trades aggressively below the number 2. We get a small retest, trades to the downside. Here we have a 1, 2, 3. Market trades above the number 2. We jostle around a little bit, trade favorably, come back and retest, and then we're moved to the upside. Forex traders, 4-hour chart of the CAD Swissy, Canadian dollar versus Swiss franc. Here we have a multi-session low, also have a double bottom, 1, 2, 3. Again, those aggressive traders are getting long on this initial breakout and bust up above the number 2. Or if you wait for that retest or that hook back above, you're getting long here. We meet our 70 pip profit objective, and then all we do is what? We sit and we wait for a potential reversal. Here's a 1, 2, nope. 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 Finally get our 1, 2, 3 top here at the bottom. Up here at the top, it's a smaller one for 40 pips. We break below, retest, hook back down. We meet our 40 pip profit objective. Day traders, 5-minute chart of the NASDAQ. And with the invention from the CME of the micros, micro S&P, micro NASDAQ, micro RUSSI, micro Dow at a tenth of the size. I mean, come on, the opportunities are just out the roof to allow you to stack positions on, scale in and out, even carry trades overnight, position trade without worrying about getting your face peeled. You know, obviously we would want to be careful around election night and you know, news events, things like that, Fed announcements or other news, but being able to trade multiple lots with the micros is really nice. All right, so here we have a 1, 2, 3, we break above, comes back down, hooks back above, onto our profit target. 1, 2, 3, market breaks down below the number 2, comes down, then trades sideways, gives us a little heartburn. We got to take some tums. Finally hits our 20-point profit objective. Then we make one last low here, likely in the last hour of the session. 1, 2, 3, breaks above the number 2. If you're lucky enough to get long here on the retest, you're filled on your 30-point profit objective in about 2 bars. So why are you here? You're here to learn my mechanical done-for-you strategy for all markets and all time frames. This is the part of the presentation where I stop and ask, have I fulfilled my promise? So I'm gonna take another swig of water here and take just a minute. Have I fulfilled my promise? Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I'm a moron. I was talking away and I was on mute, so sorry about that. Yes. Ooh, not quite. Not quite, but close. All right. I'll hopefully get closer to you, RB. And I've got a lot of questions, guys, and I promise you, I'm going to answer those. And yeah, we can talk about the seasonality factor as well. So have I shown you enough proof? I hope so, but again, stick around. We're going to look at markets, we're going to look at symbols, and it will show this. We'll look at this in real action. But wait, there's more. You knew it was coming. Usually when people say this, it doesn't end well, but I can promise you that in this case, it will. What if the strategy was automated for you? What if the strategy was plotted onto your chart? What if the trigger entry and the target were drawn for you? And what if your platform could scan the markets for you and tell you when there's a pending setup? I don't know about you, but I would think that'd be amazing, and you are certainly in for a treat. So you remember the examples I shared with you earlier? Do you remember the crude oil example? I can't remember if I told you to remember the charts we looked at, but hopefully you do remember those. It's just a few moments ago, but let's talk about them. Here's that same chart of crude oil, that same chart, but now we've got all kinds of stuff on the charts, arrows and lines. Oh my. Let's talk about it. If you're smart boys and girls, I'm sure you figured it out. The green arrow is your number 1. The red arrow is your number 2. The blue arrow is your number 3. 1, 2, 3. Now, what about this chevron, this white chevron, or this sell signal? That's not a sell signal. This is not a buy signal. What this is this is an indication, a visual aid waving at you saying, hey, we've broken below or penetrated below the number 2 point or broken above the 2 or B point. So when we get a break or break below that 2 or break above that 2 high, we get the chevron print. And if and only if that happens, we then get these 4 pretty lines plot onto our chart. What are the lines? Well, that blue line can be considered your entry or breakout level. Your red line is your risk level. Your lime green line is what I call TP1 or profit objective 1, take profit 1. Your dark green line is what I call TP2, or take profit 2, profit objective 2. So if you recall, the TP1 is the distance between the high of the 1 measured to the low of the 2 measured down, and TP2 is 2 times the distance of TP1. What about these green arrows? Why the heck are we seeing all these green arrows? It's because we are making new lows. It's telling us we're making new lows, new lows. We're making new number 1 counts. So once we stop making or printing these new lows, we stop getting new green arrows and we start to get a number 2 arrow. Here's that 1, 2, 3 that we talked about. I was really ready to get aggressive to get long here because of the high probability 1, 2, 3 pattern, but also because we're approaching a period of seasonality, or in the seasonal time frame of where crude and energy stocks tend to trade to the upside. In fact, that's one of the better high probability seasonal trades I have in my back pocket. But the market broke down. We never broke above the number 2, hence no chevron, hence no beautiful lines on our chart. And we finally get that low down here. Here's that gold example. Here's that gold example. Here's a 1, 2, 3 bottom. We trigger above TP1, TP2. Here's that range bound action. We don't get any 1, 2, 3s because we're only looking for new highs or new lows. And then here we finally we're clearly making new lows. See down here, these lows are lower than these lows, so we're starting to get green number 1 arrows. This is that last low before we trigger to the upside. 1, 2, 3. Market just barely took out that number 2 high, so we get that chevron signal, and then the lines print. And then you can see over here, we're looking for new 1, 2, 3 top over there on the right-hand side. Here's that Delta airline, DAL. There's a long, there's a short, there's a short, there's the long. 5-minute NASDAQ, 1, 2, 3. Market breaks down, hugs the breakout level. We hit TP1 and hit TP2. And then we flip around. Notice that TP2 hits TP2 to the tick. TP2 happened to be a new session low, so we start a new number 1 count. 1, 2, 3. Market breaks above, trades down, hooks back above, hits TP1. Doesn't quite hit TP2, but it's close enough for government work. You should have lost any money on the trade. We go range bound. We sell off. We make a new session low. This low is lower than that low, so we start a new count. 1, 2, 3. Market just nips its little head there above the number 2, so we get the print. No repainting on this, guys. Then the market comes up, comes down, retraces back, hooks back above. It's TP1. But notice as we're hitting TP1, we're starting to get new number 1 prints. Why? Because those are new session highs. That clues us in, that says, hey, we may need to get ready to reverse our position. But we finally do hit TP2, and then we finally get a final session high up here. 1, 2, 3. Market breaks down, pulls back up, which it does a lot, and then it hooks back down. It's TP1, TP2, and we're finally getting a new one down here in the last hour of the day. So is this trading for you? I mean, really and honestly, only you and you only can answer that. If you're brand new to the markets and you want a jump start, if you're an experienced trader and want to add another arrow to your trading quiver, if you're tired of all the noise that we talked about earlier, the indicator overload, paralysis analysis, if you want to just add another strategy to what you're already doing, whether you're already profitable, maybe not profitable, or if you want a very step-by-step mechanical plan that you could do part-time, this training could be for you. I like to tell a little story here. When I had this indicator built out, I brought my wife down to my office who teaches ballet part-time. I brought my 2 girls down to my office who were maybe 4 and 5 at the time. Trust me, they don't know a flying flip about the markets. They still don't understand what I do, regardless of how many times I try to tell them. But when I showed them what I was attempting to do with what I just showed you with that indicator, they were like, oh, I get it. Now we had to bypass and get over all the colorful candles and this and that going on into a chart, but they finally got it. So My point is that if they can get it, then you certainly can too. We, at least most of us, or I don't remember learning how to count to 3 or learning my primary colors, but that's about all you need to know with a dash of common sense. So I do have a very special offer for today's workshop attendees. We limit this to 25 people. That's no marketing gimmick or anything, because I do answer my own support box. I do have a team, but I do monitor everything that comes in. In fact, I love communicating with our members and students. So there's only so much time in a day. That's why we have to put a limit to this. It's called the 3S code high-low indicator and scanner. We built this for Thinkorswim, TradeStation, NinjaTrader 8, TradingView, and MT4. Also going to include chart pattern principle, PDF manual, trading guide, chart pattern cheat sheet, 25 top option strategy guide, VIP email support, and access to our private Discord channel. If you don't know what that is, I'll talk about it here momentarily. Now, what the heck is the 3S code high-low indicator and scanner? Great question. Let me refresh your memory. This is the 3S code on your chart. This is a chart of Thinkorswim. Here's a daily chart of CREE. There's your short, there's your short, there's your long. Daily chart of Bank of America, long, long, long. Daily chart of Love, LUV, Southwest. There's a short, hits TP1 to the tick. Here's a short, whoops, that's a bad trade. We get stopped out. We get another chance to short up here. And then why do all the work when you can let technology do the work for you? So here is a screenshot of my scanner in Thinkorswim. I'm looking for 1, 2, 3 tops in the Russell 1000. Only stocks that have those that have options on them. $20 a share or greater, or hit the green scan button. Voila, what would take hours to probably scour through takes seconds. And then I also have a monitor dedicated to watch list. I'm running multiple watch lists all at the same time, where I am looking across multiple asset classes in multiple time frames all at the same time, and you can do so as well. So we've been looking at Thinkorswim. This is what it looks like on TradeStation. Here's your indicator component. Here's your scanner component. Here's what it looks like on NinjaTrader 8. Here's your indicator component. Here's your scanner component. Here's what it looks like on TradingView. Here is your indicator component for our chart of Apple. And then here's what it looks like on MT4. So for our chart of Euro Kiwi, long, short, short, long, with some moving average overlays. And full disclaimer, there is no scanner component available on MT4 or TradingView. It just doesn't exist to my knowledge. If you know somebody, a programmer that you want to prove me wrong, please let me know and we'll get that sucker built out. But you do get the scanner. You get the indicator for all 5 platforms, the scanner only for TS, TOS, and NT8. So we know there's no real crystal ball in the markets, but I like to view this as one that provides me with a daily process. I let the scanner scan the markets for me, locate the setups, go to my platform for entry, and then I manage to trade through the exit. And you can start doing so today with the 3S code. So here's your special offer for the first 25 people. 3S code high-low indicator scanner for Thinkorswim, TradeStation, NinjaTrader 8, TradingView, and MT4. Chart pattern principle PDF manual trading guide, chart pattern cheat sheet, 25 top option strategy guide, VIP email support, and access to our private Discord channel. Now, we've recently offered this online at these prices, no joke, $19.97, $14.97, and $9.97. But for the first 25 people, we're proud to offer this for this webinar special for a one-time fee of $3.97. This is a one-time fee. You own the indicator and scanner and all these other bonuses and resources for life. You own it for life. Support does not end after day 1, day 30, day 365. As long as I'm still kicking, you're going to get support. So here is the link, and we'll put it in the chat. It's seasonalswingtrader.com/code. Seasonalswingtrader.com/code. Let's talk about the indicator and scanner. I want to make sure it's crystal clear. You're going to get a visual plot of the 1, 2, 3 top and bottom reversal areas. Entry, exit, stop, target levels, all color coded for easy reference. Customizable settings, multiple look back periods, If you don't like red, you want hot magenta, you can change that. If you don't want arrows, you want dots, you can change that. You can change the look back period. Remember what we talked about earlier. You don't have to look for 52-week highs. If you want to change the value to tighten it up and find more opportunities, you can change it to look for every 6 months, perhaps every 30 days. It depends on the frequency that you want to see the signals. You can also scan for setups only or trigger only. When we first had this built out, it was only able to scan for setups. I had a member come back and ask me, hey, I want to see this scan for triggers only, meaning that they've already broken or penetrated that number 2 high or number 2 low. I said, well, I don't know. Let me go back to my program and see if it can be done. We had that done. We had multiple enhancements done over time, haven't charged a single red cent, and we will never charge a single red cent for any enhancements. And trust me, it's not cheap. Any small edit, any edit of any kind, when you got to do it across 5 platforms, it's well into 5 figures. And we don't pass that on. You get any enhancements that we make. You can scan for intraday setups, as well as swing setups or any instrument all at the same time. Bonus 1 is a 90+ page PDF manual, chart pattern principle trading manual. You can print this, download this to your computer, print it off, use it for firewood. I don't really care, but you're going to learn how to read charts, identify markets, additional strategies, option strategies, chart patterns, seasonal market ideas, and more. Bonus 2 is 25 top option strategy guide, literally strategies for all account sizes, whether you trade basic calls and puts to more intermediate advanced, such as condors, verticals, butterflies, diagonals, and more. And then bonus 3 is access to our private Discord channel. So this is something that I believe we started this summer, sometime around this summer. It's a community, a hub. I don't call it a trade room, more like a chat room, if you will, where myself, as well as any members, can post charts, comments. What do you think about this? What do you think about that? What's working? What's not? Hey, look at this setup, and more. It's just a hub where everybody can come in and communicate. It runs 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Here's some unsolicited testimonials of people using the 3S code. I don't ask for these. People are using the 3S code indicator, making money. That's the most important thing. They're actually taking action. And here's just an example from one of our other services where these setups you see here were based purely off the 3S code. And a lot of my signals come off the 3S code. So I do eat what I cook. Here's a screenshot of my trading platforms. I do use Thinkorswim primarily and to do my equity and equity options trading, and then my futures account where I do crude options, crude options, cotton options, copper options, yen options, nat gas options, and more. And then I just want to conclude here with one last final example here. What is this? 233 tick chart of the E-mini S&P. And you can see exactly what I see on your own platform. So let's, there's the offer link again. I've got a lot of questions. So I'm going to start at the top, and everybody that has asked questions, just stay cool and patient. I'm going to get to them. And before I get to that, it looks like seven. We've got new 7 members, so want to say thanks to all of you guys. I won't call you out by name, but thank you. Please show us chart 1, 2, 3 did not work. Okay, absolutely. I think we did, but I will show you exactly. We'll look at some real live examples. In terms of pattern, what shape represents the 1, 2, 3? I don't know if I understand what you're asking. What shape represents the 1, 2, 3? Some people call it, well, might refer to it as a zigzag. Some people might refer to it as Elliott wave. You'll see 1, 2, 3s embedded into head and shoulders tops and head and shoulders bottoms. Let's see, am I scaling in or all in on break of pivot? I usually will wait for a break of that pivot, if you want to call it that. I think you're referring us to the number 2. I will usually wait for that break, and depending on where we pull back, if we pull back at a significant area of price structure, I might consider scaling in a little early. It really depends on the time frame, kind of my overall outlook. Usually do that on the longer time frames. Yes, it is being recorded, Rich. Let's see, guys. I'm going to show you the members area so you see exactly what you're getting. Yes, you get access to all platforms. So you can run them all at the same time. I've got accounts at all these outfits. I've got accounts at all of these. I'm on a PC right now, also work off a laptop with multiple monitors. So I've got a PC dedicated to running thinkorswim scans and thinkorswim charts all day, every day. I use TradingView pretty much everywhere. I love the mobile app version. You also use MT4 as well for FX. As far as TradeStation, that's the one I use the least. Used to use TradeStation back in the early 2000s. I don't use it much now. NTA I'm starting to use a little bit more. Also used to use it in the I guess around what 2010-ish area, 2008, 2012-ish. Trading futures, and it's a great platform, but you know I don't need to trade on all 5 platforms. So thinkorswim, TradingView, and MT4. But yeah, you get access to all of those. We don't limit the license or anything. Let's see. You're welcome, Mott. When would you not take a 1, 2, 3? Good question, Shaw. I'm going to show you some examples of things that I use personally, and we also have that in the members area. We have, might as well just show you that right now before we look at charts, so you can see. Olin, the link is seasonalswingtrader.com/code. All right, so here's your members area, guys. Here's the Discord information. Here's all the resources. So we talk about, you know, like understanding an indicator, how to customize it, setting up scans, day trading, swing trading, and just some different nuances. And we'll look at charts and we'll talk about this. Is, you know, you can trade completely naked. You know, completely naked, no other anything else on the charts, no RSI, no moving averages, nothing else. That's fine. And I think the cleaner the chart is, the better. It just all the other crap clouds your mind. But I will tell you that, and I'll show you, I do use a couple of moving averages, and I'll show you why. But we explain about some of these things, these little extra filters that you can add. Here's all your bonus materials. So thinkorswim, we've got videos. Here's a little video I made on just using the free seasonality widget in thinkorswim. You don't have to use seasonality in your trading, but I mean, I'm a seasonal swing trader after all, so I use it on swing trading. I don't incorporate seasonality into day trading, but certainly swing trading I do. So TradeStation V10, V95, all the little video guides, NinjaTrader 8, TradingView, and MT4. Okay. All right. Yeah, we're gonna look at charts. Thought this would be seasonal. Sorry to disappoint you. I do certainly trade seasonals with the pattern, with the 3S code. Absolutely. I'm gonna bring. Can everybody see that chart? Everybody see this? It's a 4-hour chart of the Canadian dollar. So I have this up because I'm actually in this trade. Let's see here. Just looking. So unless the white chevron prints, one can wait. I prefer to wait because that's confirming. So let's pretend. Let me see if I could find. So what you could do some people, it would be taking that initial break. So here we have like this 1, 2, 3. You would put if you put a sell stop right here, and then you're triggered into the trade, you're not really waiting for that chevron to break. Now, when you get triggered into the trade, that chevron prints. But I like to wait for the market to confirm first, and then I will make my analysis and determination whether I want to take the trade. So what are all these moving averages and all this other stuff that you see on the chart? I have 2 short-term moving averages, the 5 and 21, and I have a purple line down here is the 200-day. The 200 days is simply my trend EMA. Just want to see where I am in relation to the trend. More often than not, it's going to serve as a pausing point. Hopefully, you guys, if you've been around trading for any length of time, you know that how the significance and the importance of the 200-day. If you don't want it there, don't take that puppy off. You don't have to use it. But I like to see it because it will prevent me from trading into it. Common sense tells me not to trade right into 200-day support. Common sense tells me not to trade into 200-day resistance. You can see it. Look how we respected here. We respected it here. We finally broke. Short-term moving averages is just a faster filter. So Shaw, if I answer your question, I think I lost your question here. Where is it? Okay. So when would I not take a 1, 2, 3? So what I like to see is the 5 and 21 cross or the price below the 5 and 21. So right here, price is already below the 5 and 21 as we're breaching the 2. Over here, they're basically crossed and we're pointing south. Right here, don't quite have the confirmation yet, and we're closing below the number 2. We'll look at some more examples. I mentioned energy and crude oil seasonality. What is the seasonality pattern? There's just certain pockets of the year, Tina, that crude and energy markets have very, very, very high probability odds going one way or the other. And one of those is approaching here at the end of the year. And we trade in and out of those. And when you align that with the 1, 2, 3, it's like, it's very nice thing. All right, just keep coming. I'm keep coming down here. Why were there no red arrows? Not sure what you're talking about. I see how this works at tops and bottoms, but I can't see this working in consolidation. Keith, so that's precisely the point. It's a 1, 2, 3 top, 1, 2, 3 bottom. So we're not necessarily trying to time the market, but we're trying to catch high probability reversals at tops and at bottoms. But I would call this consolidation, and it caught this move. And as I showed you in those other examples, you can trade 1, 2, 3 tops in consolidation environments, but you may not get the print. It all depends on your setting, and you have the ability to manipulate settings yourself. I have these settings just bare minimum, black and white out of the box, because I want to see every 1, 2, 3. I want my scanner to bring up every 1, 2, 3, so I can then drill down to the chart and pull that particular market up and look at it. I'm going to go, okay. Am I just going to blindly take it because it popped up on the radar? No, I'm going to look at a variety of things. But if you want to be more selective, let me rephrase that. If you want your scan to be more selective, then you can adjust these values. So again, these are bare minimum. We talk about what all this means. Minimum bars. Do you want 1 bar, 2 bars, 3 bars between the 1 and 2? I mean, personally, I like to see more bars between the 1 and 2, but I've got it set for 1 because I still want to be alerted. So I hope that makes sense. Here's where you change your little drawing tools, your colors, your width. all that good stuff. Yeah, I'm gonna look at some more markets just a second. I'm gonna, so Keith, I hope that answers your question. Can I set up a screen on TradeStation? Yes. Yeah, there's a radar screen. Mark, if I answer that correctly. Again, I'm not in deep TradeStation, every day. So if you run into some problems or questions, just let me know, and I'll be happy to work to help work. 14 are gone and out the window. Okay. 11 left, and I'm gonna respond to all you guys that are sending me personal emails. Jim, the email is support@seasonalswingtrader.com. Support@seasonalswingtrader.com. Yes, Pamela, if you got more in-depth questions, you could email me. We won't get into those now. If you got in-depth questions about the nuances and how things work, email me, support@seasonalswingtrader. I'll personally answer you. What's the high low for day trading? We're using the session high or the session low going back to the Globex open, and that's set. So this is the custom look back period. You can set this to yes or no if you don't want to use that. We go through all this in the members area. That's great, Jim. Glad it's working for you. Yeah, of course it works for stocks. Works for. I've got scanners finding me 1, 2, 3 bottoms, 1, 2, 3 tops in stocks, futures, forex. I got multiple custom watch lists. So like, here's one of my. I've got a watch list called commodities that I've made, but there's public lists, the NASDAQ or the Russell or the S&P. Okay, Bart, just getting to your next question. Yeah, I believe the setup, the video of the setup and installation is part right there in the members area. It's part of the NinjaTrader 8 installation. Again, if we're missing something or you're not seeing something, shoot me an email. Appreciate it, Laurel. Thanks for the kind words. So I don't do seminars on how to install and set up the indicator. It's a good question. It's pretty simple. I mean, I'm not a tech genius or tech wizard myself, but I can turn the computer on. I'm able to log into this webinar, and I'm just being a little sarcastic, but if you know how to do that and you're here attending, you shouldn't have any problems. Just all I ask is just take a look at the installation guide, watch the video. It's probably 5, 10, 15 minutes or so to watch that. But if y'all are able to if you're navigating to the platforms and already, it's pretty simple. But my support guys can actually log into your computer. They'll do that via a remote session. They're happy to do that. They'll do it with a smile, and they'll log in. They'll help set all this up for you, because we don't leave you hanging, don't leave you high and dry. Now they're not working tonight, but if you encounter problems, which is fine, just shoot us an email and we can set up a session tomorrow, and they can log in. Sounds good, Keith. Appreciate it. What is the winning rate of the indicator? The winning rate really it's an impossible question to answer. It depends on the user, because everybody enters and exits at different times. As I said, depends on what, are you using a filter? Are you not using filter? What is the win rate against what? There's thousands of stocks, 35 commodity markets that I follow, 35 currency markets that I follow, and then look at the variables. I mean, if you change just one of these, that's a whole nother ball game. Trade this one, that's a whole nother ball game. There could be, I mean, it's an impossible question to answer. And how you manage your trade, that again, who knows? How do you how do you trade? You know, you trade options, you trade futures. Are you selling options? Are you buying options? TP1 is a very good target, and you know, if you go down into the basic premises of price structure, you'll very often, or what you'll want to see is when TP1 aligns with price structure. And I really didn't notice this, guys, until we started talking. See this on the 4-hour chart of the Canadian dollar? This is a key area of price structure because this area is the area that broke out and caused new highs. And what does it align with? It aligns with perfectly with TP1. So when we have these things, it's all about confluence, right? It's all about confluence. And when we have those things line up, I mean, those put the odds in your favor. Here's another example. Look at where the 200-day is. 200-day is right there at TP2, and then it just reversed. Here's another one, talking about trading in 200-day support. I would take this trade because there's some meat on that bone. It's a 4-hour chart, and I realize that I may not get here because of that 200-day, but I can get 50% of the way. And that it goes back to like the winning percentage and things like, you know, are you scaling in? Maybe you're taking half off or a percent off when you get 50% of the way there. Or if it moves down, do you keep your stops at here? Do you move them here? Do you take them to break even? Thousands and thousands of, maybe an infinite amount of possibilities there. Oh, I love TradingView. What do I use for commodities? What do you mean? What I use? Like what trading platform, or what you mean, SP? No, Shaw, nothing repaints. Uh-oh, I hadn't heard of that, Laurel. When you scan the whole gamut of instruments, how can you or would be selected maybe by sectors? Well, if you scan on, you know, it depends on how many markets you have in your scanner for one, as far as how many results you're going to get. And then what time frame. The larger the time frame, the less results you're going to get. I would say, and this is going to be probably true with most strategies, the longer time frames are really, you know, are going to have your best odds. I think the odds are built for you in the longer time frames, 4-hour, daily, weekly. But if you're looking at, say, a minute chart, a tick chart, 5-minute, of course, you're going to get a lot more opportunities. No, Laura, you're going to get access to TradingView right upon purchase. I don't know. I don't think it works on a demo account of Thinkorswim. I don't know if any indicators do. At least that's what I've heard. But I think you can fund an account with maybe $1,000, $2,000. It'd be worth doing that in TOS just to load it up. You're welcome, Mark. Just, yeah, reach out to me, support at Steven Swing Trader. We'll fix you up. Yes, Lloyd, you get access to all future enhancements or updates. I trade a lot. I trade other strategies as well. All of it's based on price action. And this is a price action strategy. We call, you know, it's an indicator, but all this indicator is doing is it's a tool that helps us. But at the end of the day, it's price action. So we Just literally this past weekend completed an EA expert advisor or robot for MT4. We had a lot of members requesting that, and that's been in development. Actually, we're on version 3 of it, and we're close to releasing that for people that want to try to do an automated. And I'm pretty excited about some other things we have in the background in regards to automation, full automation, i.e. trading, automatic trading. But we do have a back tester component. That's a whole separate product. Question about win rate is not answered. I'm interested in knowing between, if you could give us stats on making TP1 versus stop out, that'd be an indication of win rate. We do have a back tester component. I was answering another back testing question for somebody else, but there is a back tester component if you want to access that to back test your own strategy, taking TP1 versus stop out and scanning versus a particular set of instruments. You can also incorporate your own settings like trend EMAs and fast slow EMAs and a couple of other things, or just have it raw, not using any of those filters. But really the question comes down is to management. What's going on with current price action? What are you doing in the wake of news? That again is something that I failed to mention when people ask about win rates. Like, are you trading are you going to hold a position in the euro currency when the ECB is making a rate announcement in the middle of the night? Or are you going to move it to, are you just going to exit, or are you going to move to break even or lock in profits? A lot of variables, and I hope everybody can understand and respect that. Way I trade may not be the same way you trade, or the way Tom, Dick, or Harry trade. I don't trade, do not trade Bitcoin, but I do own Bitcoin. Yeah, I think there's was it GTBC? What's the ETF? GTBC? Anybody know that? Anybody know the ETF, Bitcoin ETF? No, never back tested the 314 EMA, but if you want to send that to me, I'll certainly check it out. And if you can give me some insight on why you like that, that'd be even more helpful, because we can share it with the community, unless it's something top secret. Because it's limited to 20, we limit this to 25 people because there's only so much bandwidth as far as support that can be handled for people that need assistance answering questions. And this is lifetime support. I say lifetime, I'm not going to be around forever, but as long as I am around, we're going to get continued support. It's not like, oh, you get 30 days support and that's it. No, there's no abracadabra. I love the questions, Shaw. By the way, your middle name is, your name is a family name of ours. Middle name of one of my daughters. So no, yeah, you certainly can eyeball it. I mean, I eyeballed it for years, and it's where I got the majority of my profits swing trading markets when I wasn't even able to watch the markets. I had no clue what was going on during the day. This is long before we were sitting around looking at our smartphones. I had no idea. Do my analysis at the end of the day, early morning, late in evening, place my trades, and go off to the old workplace and 1, 2, 3 was the primary setup. I had others, of course, but they didn't appear as frequently. You know, say head and shoulders tops, triangles, things like that didn't appear as frequently, but the 1, 2, 3s did, and I was very profitable with those. And then I would place the trades and then come back and see what happened, you know, whenever I got home. And it was a really good way to, you know, very stress-free way to trade. But like I said earlier, you know, of course, you know, as you continue in your quest, your trading quest, you know, always want to be learning, which I encourage, learning new strategies and setups and things like that. Nothing wrong with that. But if you get caught up into the Holy Grail syndrome, that's where you're going to probably run amok, you know, and you're going to get stuck. You're going to be frustrated. And I mean, that's really all I got to say about that. But yeah, you can certainly eyeball it. Yes, you have access to all. Yeah, you want to see the offer again. And I'm gonna look at some. I haven't even gotten to the live examples yet. We're way over time. Yeah, so Thinkorswim, TradeStation, TradeRate, TradeView, MT4. You get access to all. Oh yeah, GBTC. Okay. Looking at buying some SSO puts. I'll take a look at that. Let me see if I can find my chart back here. Don't look at lumber. Don't look at lumber. I've actually traded lumber and I've traded milk. I traded milk in the middle of the night when I was in Chicago for a commercial trader. I think he had the milk pit cornered. I've never traded those. Don't trade lumber. I know it's been on fire. Yeah, I'm watching grains closely for top patterns. All right, so let's see what you got. You will look at ES. So here is the S&P. Got a potential top in the making, and see this right here. I don't know if I covered that in the today's training, but I like to see at least a bare minimum. I want to see a close. I want to see a close below number 2. See how this wick, it wick below the number 2, creating the signal. I want to see a close, and then as we start coming down, where's the S&P? We're down 8 points right now. I want to see a close, and then what I do like to see again is like confluence. So if I look back here on this 4-hour, I kind of see a little build up area right around it here. There's probably some, if I go back in time, I'll look at the 10-minute today. Let's see. All right, so here's today's 10-minute. It never really fully materialized. We got a break up here at 35.35, trade as high as 35.50-ish. Not once, but twice here in the after market session. But this 200-day, I would take that initial breakout, wait for the market to retest or hook back above. Usually that second attempt will push us back above. The last trades, you'll see these exact same setups once you load the indicator. All right, so then we come into yesterday. I pretty much went flat going into the election. It's a coin flip. So I pretty much went flat. I did keep some option positions on in certain markets, commodity markets that I felt like didn't have a ton of all right, let's see here. Look at some more. Zoom and Peloton. Let's see what's shaking and baking here. All right, there is your Zoom TP1. We're approaching right here. Potentially profit 2 is what we're looking at right there. Peloton. Okay. Yeah, so the moving averages, again, what I like to see, I like to see the cross. These little smaller 1, 2, 3s, to me is just kind of noise. I like to see the big ones. This was obviously ended up being a good trade, but you see how far the moving averages are spread apart. It shows you how strong the trend is. AMD. So AMD is one that is in the works. We had see how we wicked down right there, but couldn't close below that number 2. Couldn't close it below that. Finally get a couple closes and some retests. And then the market retraced against us and then just come back down. And we look to be heading steadily towards the first target. And looky what we got here. This is going to be the area that we broke out right there. But don't get greedy. If you short at 75, be cautious around 62.50 or wherever the 200-day is at that time, because it's going to likely cause as an area of support. Don't look at bulls percent. I'm familiar with it. Yeah, nat gas. We actually we have been short nat gas, and now we have a 1, 2, 3. We've been short Jan nat gas. GF21. So we got short early. We got short at 328. We got short at, 338. We got short at 338, and we trailed our stops down, and we got stopped on our balance at 312 today. Got stopped at 312, and you can see we have a really broader based 1, 2, 3. This is a little bit wide for my personal liking. So if that's the case, then we can you can drill down to like a 4-hour. You drill down like a 4-hour or maybe even a 1 hour and get a little bit more kind of a sniper entry. This is pretty wide, man, especially for something like nat gas. The Swiss franc 6S. Let's take a look. So here is, see how we're far apart. Don't get a close. That's a decent trade right there. You want the 4-hour Swiss franc. So we won't have a new 1, 2, 3 bottom unless we take out these lows. CAD Swiss HF. All right, so here's our CAD Swissy. Didn't quite reach TP1, but we're getting a smaller 1, 2, 3. I would probably avoid that. It's too small. And you see the moving averages. All right. Yeah, a couple equities I'm looking at based on the scanner. Not, no, I don't day trade. I don't day trade stocks. So we're looking at Stitch Fix. I have a double top in play too, but pay attention to the trend line. Notice that the trend line break is also coincides with our number 2. So I love, that's the kind of stuff that I love. 1, 2, 3, have a nice healthy trend line. We start breaking down below. Here's our divergence. This is the RSI I was talking about. So we have a high and then a higher high. Let's see, high, higher high, high, lower high, divergence. That's about all I use with some price action. AZN, yeah, I want to stay away from some of the pharmaceuticals and such, just obvious reasons. But there's AZN forming a pretty decent post earnings, forming a pretty decent 1, 2, 3 bottom there. Bex, same thing. The price action looks good. Kind of clearing this little trend line here. It all looks good, but got a possible 200-day resistance there, and then it's at the end of the day, it's involved with what's going on in the current market environment. This is the latest version, Ari. You see you have the entry, stop, and TP1 levels in the top left-hand corner. There is no screener in Trading View. No screener in Trading View or MT4. Bruce, no extra costs. No, this is no renewal, no other hidden fees, no other cost, subscription costs. You own an indicator for all platforms, and you don't get it rebuild in a year or anything else. No subscriptions. Asked the other day, the platform about settings for Forex. Which platform are you referring to? If I missed you, let me know or email me support@Seasonal Swing Trade. I don't know what platform you asked about. Coffee, yeah. So I don't have coffee futures on Thinkorswim, but we can look at JO, the ETF. So we won't have an official 1, 2, 3 print down here, but that's interesting that you asked about that, John, because I almost issued a coffee buy today. We got a little bit of seasonality. This is what I really like is this breakout right here, and we're at this little 786 retracement. So it's all about just adding, multiple areas of confirmation. So I like that trade. Actually, I think it's a low risk trade. And JO is not the most liquid ETF or ETN in the marketplace, but sometimes it might be better for some than trading coffee futures. But you're looking for a move all the way back up to here with the risk of right here. It's a multiple R risk reward scenario. We talk about how to trade options. We have the options guide inside the members area, but there's so many variables, so we don't have a full options, full-blown options program because everybody's different. Whether you're buying, selling, and things like that. But I prefer to, I use the 1, 2, 3 to trade options all the time. I prefer to be a seller, but I will be buyer. I'm long certain options, and I'm also short spreads, credit spreads. Yeah, Exxon. So that's one that I was short, or not short. I was short bull puts. So I was actually at a long position, um, and I was able to take profits before. So I was sold out of the money puts on CVX and XBM and XOM, but I wanted to kind of get flat, get a little light before all the crazy fireworks last week. So I don't really see a totally valid setup, at least that meet my likings on XOM. I was looking at XOM from a price action perspective, and of course it doesn't hurt when you get 1, 2, 3 confirmations. INTAP. All right, so INTAP, we've got potential 1, 2, 3 top. That the indicator is flagging, but look at, so just using the naked eye, let's just start with maybe 1, 2, 3, trade the upside, 1, 2, 3, sideways. Here's a new, I don't know if that's a new low, not a new low, not really a new low. That's why we're not getting any prints, but there's all these little 1, 2, 3s inside of, trends. No, you don't have to pay anything for the revision. It's all, you don't, there's no cost. You can have the thing show new version, so show old version. And I think the old version doesn't have these price labels and some other, maybe the lines. They don't have the lines that you saw. So no, there's no additional cost. Thanks, Keith. ZL. So I'm watching soybean oil very closely, and watching soy meal, also watching soybeans, and watching wheat, corn, all the grains. CCOI, all right, one last one here. We're like 19, that's all, guys, 19 units. So these are all really small 1, 2, 3s. They're triggered and they're meeting their objectives. But these averages are spread apart. Again, they're showing that the trend is strong, and looks like we might start to be rounding a corner here. And what I'd like to do is just keep it simple, just draw little trend lines. You're welcome, Ari. I appreciate the kind words. Yeah, the high low for 5-minute day trading is going to go back to the Globex session. So it's a S&P, crude oil, currencies, whatever, Russell, NASDAQ, whatever you trade for 5 minutes on a 5-minute chart. You're going to go back, reference the Globex session, which is 5 p.m. Central. It's when Globex opens, 5 p.m. Central, and then you'll be looking for new highs or new lows based from that point forward. The black, I think you're meaning this arrow. That's something else. That's not part of this one. There is totally something different. Guys, we got to wrap it up here. It's been an awesome time. I thank you first and foremost for attending. This has been fun. I love this stuff. We could talk about it all day long, look at ideas and setups. If you have any other questions or you think of anything else that I may have missed, please shoot me an email, support@seasonalswingtrader.com. And I look forward to all of the new students and members and working with you for a long time. We've become friends, whether I meet you in person or we meet virtually or communicate virtually. So I hope everybody has a great rest of your day wherever you are in the world. Thanks a lot for your time, and attention and all of your questions. It's been great. Good luck, good trading out there. Stay healthy in the market and in health. And I'll see you on the inside. Take care.